let that go?
No one cares. Everyone would be better off if I was never born. Did you see that? Did the power go out? Oh my god.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 horror comedy, It's a Wonderful Knife. The film is directed by Tyler McIntyre and it stars Jane Widdop, Joe McHale, Justin Long and Jess McLeod. Right, the film is a horror twist on the classic Christmas tale of It's a Wonderful Life. And it focuses on a character called Winnie, and this one fateful Christmas Eve, she witnesses her best friend getting murdered by a new masked killer in her town. She manages to survive this attack and then actually kill the masked killer. The film then jumps 12 months down the line. A year later, her life is really not going well. She's not being accepted into the college that she wants. She's lost her best friend. She's missing her dearly. She's disconnected with her family, her friends, everything really. And she's just feeling completely and utterly useless. So she makes a wish. And it's one of those movies where the wish comes true, as you would expect in a story like this. She wishes she'd never been born. The wish comes true, and then immediately she's thrust into a world where she has never existed. And this serial killer, this mass killer, has been running rampant for 12 months, murdering a large amount of the town. Her family don't recognise her, her friends don't recognise her, and she has got to figure out how she is going to get her old life back. Right, what are my thoughts on It's a Wonderful Knife? Well, I think the idea and the concept of this film is very, very cool indeed. The whole take on It's a Wonderful Life. This has been done before. The most prominent one that jumps to my mind is the James Belushi Mr. Destiny one that came out, I think, in the very early 90s, I'm going to say. They've been doing this more and more with like horrors over the last few years. You know, they've been flipping genres on their head. They did it with Freaky, things like that, and the Happy Death Day sort of stuff. You know, using different genres and blending them together, and it actually does work quite well here. What we have here is a very, very well made film. It's nicely polished. I didn't dislike, a lot of these films I tend to find that I dislike a lot of the characters, and I didn't really dislike the characters for the most part. I thought Jane Widdop played a good character in Winnie. Quite a layered and complex character in many ways, a character that goes through a few changes in the film. In many different ways. I don't want to over-explain that because it will spoil some of the film. For me, however, there is some issues here with this film that I think hold it back. Number one, well, not in any particular order, I suppose. I think tonally it's a bit odd. I think the humour is misplaced here. It's not like one of those. It's not like Totally Killer, for example, that we saw a few weeks ago. That is very tongue-in-cheek stuff. This actually takes itself quite seriously, but we're supposed to accept the humour that it throws at us occasionally, and the humour just feels odd and misplaced in this film. And for me, it absolutely doesn't work. The humour, horror comedy is always a difficult blend to get right. The horror side of the film is okay here if you like, slasher films. The humour just didn't work. And part of that humour that doesn't work, or comedy that doesn't work, is the Justin Long character, Henry Waters, who is the town's mayor. Who is like, and again, I don't want to say too much about his character because I don't want to spoil the film, even though there is a reveal that takes place very early in the film. And in actual fact, if you see the trailer, I think it's in that as well, but still I'm not going to ruin it. His character is it's like a caricature. It don't feel at all like a real person. It's it's a nice performance by Justin Long, because you know, it's nice to see him play something different in a horror genre where he initially made his name. But it just, again, it just doesn't, it feels out of place in this film, this character. And then it tries to be clever, the film, in regards to the reveal of the killer. So there's an early reveal of who the killer is, and then there's another reveal of who the killer is when she kind of goes into this world where she's never been born. And it just gets a bit silly and a bit unbelievable, and I really feel like by the end of the film it's lost its way quite drastically, this film, and lost its direction, and it just feels farcical by the end. I think the first 60% of this film, maybe going up to 70% of this film, had some real potential. And, you know, there are some flaws in it that you could easily forgive. You know, some of the characters, you know, some of the writing. You know, there's lots of stuff you can kind of forgive if it kind of makes up for it in other areas. And the film doesn't. It's a very, very mixed end to the film for me. It just, so characters do things that you're just kind of like, okay, so you're going to do that now. Characters do things that you're just kind of like, there's no way you would do that. How is that even possible? And again, it is difficult to explain because I do not want to give spoilers away. But I think this film had an awful lot of potential, and I think it's I don't know. It's missed the landing. So you know what I mean. It's a cool idea. A pretty cool killer to a large degree, but by what decisions they make in the film, it effectively makes the killer feel less menacing. So you don't even have that really going for you either. And so I think this is a really clever idea of a film. It could have worked. It nearly did work. It's not a bad film. I always like to see new and original horror films, especially around Christmas time. And I think they had a really fairly fabulous idea here. They just kind of couldn't quite elevate it to really memorable and really exceptional. But still worth checking out, I think, if you get the opportunity. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I will be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.